I'm a national security consultant with a company called Understanding the Threat, or UTT. UTT is the only organization in America which trains law enforcement, intelligence professionals, military, and leaders on the threat from the global Islamic movement, the doctrine of jihadi groups, and how to identify, investigate, and dismantle them. At UTT, we hold the firm belief that in order to defeat the global Islamic movement, we must understand the enemy. U.S. military warfighting doctrine, specifically the intelligence preparation of the battlefield manual, states that war planners must begin all analysis of the enemy with who the enemy says they are and why they are fighting us. That becomes the basis for determining the enemy threat doctrine, which, in the case of jihadis, is Sharia. Universally, the enemy, jihadis, whether it's Al-Qaeda, ISIS, the Muslim Brotherhood, they all state that they are Muslims waging jihad in the cause of Allah to establish an Islamic state under Sharia. I'm going to discuss one jihadi group, the Muslim Brotherhood. Based on evidence entered into the largest terrorism financing and Hamas trial ever successfully prosecuted in U.S. history, and my own experience conducting undercover research with Hamas doing business as CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations. The Holy Land Foundation trial was adjudicated in Dallas, Texas in 2008 and identified CARE as a member of the Muslim Brotherhood, or the U.S. Muslim Brotherhood's Palestine Committee, which is Hamas, a designated foreign terrorist organization. The U.S. government identified Hamas as an outgrowth of the Muslim Brotherhood. Documents entered into evidence in the Holy Land Foundation trial also revealed that ISNA, the Islamic Society of North America, is a Muslim Brotherhood organization which financially supports Hamas, again, a designated terrorist organization. At the time it was indicted, the Holy Land Foundation was the largest Islamic charity in the United States and was convicted on 108 counts for funneling over $12 million to a foreign terrorist organization, Hamas, which is the Palestinian branch of the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood creed states, quote, Allah is our goal, the Prophet is our guide, the Quran is our constitution, jihad is our way, and death for the glory of Allah is our greatest inspiration or ambition. The Muslim Brotherhood bylaws state, the Islamic nation must be fully prepared to fight the tyrants and the enemies of Allah as a prelude to establishing the Islamic State. Again, the Muslim Brotherhood agenda is no different than that of Al-Qaeda or ISIS. The Muslim Brotherhood logo, as Mr. Haney showed, has two swords cradling a Quran with a reference to ayah or verse 860 of the Quran, which states, against them make ready your strength to the utmost of your power, including steeds of war, to strike terror into the hearts of the enemies of Allah and your enemies. This verse is also referenced in the Al-Qaeda training manual, which was discovered in May 2000 by British investigators conducting a search of Al-Qaeda operative Anas al-Libi. Now, during my time conducting undercover research as an intern for Hamas, both at CARE in Maryland, Virginia, and Herndon, Virginia, and CARE National in Washington, D.C., I preserved documents that revealed Hamas doing business as CARE conspired to cover up fraud committed by one of their immigration attorneys, discussed coordinating with bin Laden and his associates, placed staffers and interns inside congressional offices, conspired to influence Congress, specifically Judiciary, Intelligence, and Homeland Security committees, impacted congressional districts, tasking each Hamas chapter office with influencing at least 2 legislators, and ordering books from the Saudi embassy on the virtue of jihad and martyrdom. Worked with a Muslim law enforcement officer to influence a major terrorism investigation by accessing a classified federal police database and tipping off the suspect. And the current administration in the U.S. national security apparatus continues to use leaders of Muslim Brotherhood groups like ISNA, the Muslim Public Affairs Council, CARE, and others to provide direct input into American foreign policy and domestic counterterrorism strategies. One of the results of this situation is to order the removal of terms like jihad and Sharia from our counterterrorism lexicon. I attended a convention in Columbus, Ohio in 2008 organized by Muslim Brotherhood group ISNA and both the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice Federal Bureau of Prisons had recruitment and outreach booths. Both Congressman Keith Ellison and Andre Carson spoke at the Muslim Brotherhood event, and I witnessed Imam Siraj Wahaj, who is a vocal advocate for the implementation of Sharia and an unindicted co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, solicit donations for Hamas at CARE's annual banquet. Siraj Wahaj was the first imam to offer prayers in Congress. Often when understanding the threat offers training to federal, state, and local law enforcement, Muslim Brotherhood groups work to intimidate the hosts of the training venues into canceling the training by threatening them with ties or with cries of Islamophobia and racism. Documents entered into the evidence into the Holy Land Foundation trial, entitled An Explanatory Memorandum, outline the role of the Muslim Brotherhood in North America. Quote, the process of settlement is a civilization jihadist process, with all the word means. The Ikhwan must understand that their work in America is a kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house by their hands and the hands of the believers, so that it is eliminated and God's religion is made victorious over all other religions. According to our enemy, the global Islamic movement, made up of many groups including Al-Qaeda, ISIS, the Muslim Brotherhood, Tablighi Jamaat, Boko Haram, Hamas, Hezbollah, and many nation states including Pakistan, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and many others, they all seek to impose Sharia. It is the blueprint from which they create their warfighting strategies. From a U.S. warfighting perspective, that naturally makes Sharia the enemy threat doctrine and adherence to Sharia a direct threat to the Republic. Until American leaders and national security professionals identify the threat and formulate policies and strategies that address adherence to this ideology, we will continue on our current path of defeat and eventually lose this war here at home, as we did in Iraq and Afghanistan. Thank you.